World War II, after the Soviet invasion of Poland, young Polish army officer Janusz is held as a prisoner and interrogated by the NKVD. The Soviets, unable to get him to admit that he is a spy, take his wife into custody as well and severely torture her. From her, they extort a statement condemning him. He is sentenced to 20 years in a gulag labor camp deep in Siberia. There, he meets those with whom he later plans an escape. Mr. Smith, an American engineer, Kabarov, an actor, Valka, a hardened Russian criminal, Tomas, a Polish artist, Voss, a Latvian priest, Kazik, a Pole suffering from night blindness, and Zoran, a Yugoslav. Kabarov secretly tells Janusz that he is planning to escape south to Mongolia, passing Lake Baikal. Smith cautions Janusz that it is Kabarov's way to discuss escape plans with newcomers, to maintain his morale, but nothing will come of it. At times, Janusz seems to hallucinate the front door of a country home and adjoining window ledge, which holds plants and a rock he attempts to reach for. Janusz follows through with the escape, with Smith, Valka, Voss, Tomas, Zoran, and Kazik during a severe snowstorm that covers their tracks. Kazik freezes to death the second night of the trek after losing his way back to the campsite while looking for wood, and the group buries him. After many days of traveling across the snows of Siberia, the group reaches Lake Baikal. There, they meet Irina, a young Polish girl, who tells them that Russian soldiers murdered her parents and sent her to a collective farm near Warsaw, where they treated her cruelly, so she escaped. Smith realizes the inaccuracies in her story, as Warsaw is occupied by the Germans. Nevertheless, despite his misgivings that she'll slow them down and tax their meager food supply, he agrees with the group to let her in. Smith eventually cautions her about the lie and says he will not tolerate any more, in response to which she admits that her parents were communists, but the communist rulers killed them anyway and sent her to an orphanage. When the group reaches an unpatrolled border between the Soviet Union and Mongolia, Valka, who idolizes Joseph Stalin and does not know what he would do elsewhere, decides to stay. The rest continue to Ulaanbaatar, but soon they see images of Stalin, Korlugian, Choibalsan, and a red star. Janusz realizes that Mongolia is under communist control, and since China is at war with Japan, tells the group they should take refuge in British India. As they continue south across the Gobi Desert, lack of water, sandstorms, sunburn, blisters, and sunstroke weaken the group. They find a well, which provides temporary relief. However, shortly after departing, they are hit by a sandstorm and lose the majority of their water supply. Realizing they could never find the well again, the group carries on. Irina collapses several times and soon dies. A few days later, Tomas collapses and dies. Smith is on the verge of death, but after being motivated by Janusz, Zoran, and Voss, decides to rejoin the group, and the severely dehydrated four find a much-needed water source. Soon after, they reach China by passing through the Great Wall. As they reach the Himalayas, all of them on the verge of death, they are rescued by a Tibetan monk who takes them to a Buddhist monastery, where they regain their strength. Smith decides to go to Lhasa with the help of one of the monk's contacts, who will smuggle him out through China. Once there, he anticipates he will be able to connect with the U.S. military, his return to America ensured. The remaining three continue to trek through the Himalayas and soon reach India and get assistance from villagers. The Indian government helps them reach their home peacefully. At the end of the film, Janusz keeps walking around the world until 1989, when the communist regime in Poland is ousted from power. The final scene of the film shows Janusz 50 years after being taken captive, again envisioning the door and reaching for the rock. This time he takes a key hidden beneath the rock to open the door and reconcile with his wife.